Yeah, so, you know, you get into the Iliad and the Odyssey, and it's like, well, for a long, I mean, the world used to think, oh yeah, these are true. And then people were like, wait a second. Like, there aren't gods and...
Yeah, actually.
Yeah.
When did that happen? Like that moment when they started doubting?
I mean, people would have always doubted it, but, you know, there's always people that doubt. But that type of intense skepticism when it comes to historical accounts really started after the Reformation and the printing press, which, you know, happened at basically the same time, same era in history.
Yep.
That gave rise to a thing called the Reformation did, called higher criticism, is what it's called, thanks to the Germans. But they started doubting the veracity or truth of stories in the Bible.
Okay.
So, like, I mean, these are Christians.
Christians doubting the stories. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, oh, sure, yeah. Jesus, yeah. Son of God, absolutely.
Yeah. You get
miracles. Came back from the dead. Ascended. Yeah, we're Christian. Of course we believe that.
Yeah.
But this Garden of Eden stuff?
Really? Metaphors?
Poetic? I don't know. But then, oh, the flood? Every animal in the world on a boat?
Yeah.
I don't know. Sounds
a little far-fetched.
Yeah, I don't know if I believe this one.
Yeah.
Okay. So, where does the mythologized account end? And where does the true one begin? Like, true all the way through.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or is it all mythology?
Right, and your faith is in vain.
Yeah.
That's you know, similar to what St. Paul says, is if Christ didn't die and rise again, then your faith is in nothing. So, here we go. What speed are you going?
57.
Get up to 60.
Yes, sir.
Here's the New Testament. It starts with the book of Matthew. And Matthew starts by giving the genealogies of Jesus, going all the way back to the garden. Point to the name here now, higher critics. Point to the era when myth became fact.
Yeah, because it's the entire genealogy.
Well, it's not the entire genealogy. There's generations that are skipped. They have to be, but
it's basically there.
Yeah, it's Adam to David to Christ.
Yeah.
And like, well, maybe there was a guy named Adam, and there was this myth about him, and okay, well then, so Adam didn't really die. Like, did Adam not really commit the first sin? You see all these implications here. Well, tell me which is real and which isn't.
Yeah.
But that's when a lot of that stuff started with the Iliad and the Odyssey. Like, well, the sirens, I mean, nobody's seen any animals like that. Nobody's seen any creatures like that. Okay. I'm not saying that sirens exist or they're real, but here you are doubting this thing. Do we doubt that there was a king named Odysseus? Some people do. Yeah, there was no king named Odysseus. There was no king named Achilles. I mean, maybe, and then it became, well, maybe there was. It was, these just stories got blown up out of proportion.
Yeah.
Okay. So what you're really telling me is you don't know at all.
Yeah. Just a guess. An estimated guess.
Yeah, you want parts of it to be true or something,
Uh-huh.
So that's what I'm talking about. Worldviews, to the Greeks, to Plato, to Aristotle, as best we can tell, they believed that the epic cycle, the Trojan War, and the return, right? Because that's the best part of the story in a lot of ways, the return.
Yeah.
The returners.
The return with the elixir. That's just a story trope.
Well, no, as part of the epic cycle, the guys that survived the war, the story of their return home has to be told as well. They're called the Nostoi, the returners. The story of Odysseus is the most famous because we have it in its entirety, but it also is probably the most epic because it took him so long, right?
Yeah.
He was at war for 10 years against the Trojans, and then 10 years to get home to Ithaca and Penelope,
Yep.
and to kill all the suitors. So that's a fun story.
Mm-hmm.
But Plato and Aristotle and Xenophon and all those guys would have believed that no, this is a true story. That this happened. There's metaphor in it, just like there is in any story you tell, because history is this story we tell about the past.
Yeah.
Right? There's going to be things that look like they rhyme, or things that look like they're a repeat of something that happened before. Like in the case of, Julius Caesar, Napoleon is a type of Caesar, you say stuff like that. Just like biblically we would say that, Abraham is a type of Christ, right?
Yeah.
Moses is a type of Christ. King David is a type of Christ. Joshua is a type of Christ, right? The temple is a type of Mary. You can do that stuff in history too. It's not exclusive to Christianity. People would say, Caesar is the new Alexander, right?
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah. So it's all about worldviews. So that's why I was explaining the other day, when you're talking about civilization, what is a civilization? Right? Well, the Romans thought it was this particular thing.
Yeah.
Today we use it as just kind of a catch-all for like a country or a nation state, or maybe a group of countries that share a common history. So in America, we have, American society, and Canada, you'd say they have Canadian society, but, not to shortchange, native tribes, talking about like European stock, right?
Yeah.
You'd say you have Canadian society. You might even say, well, you have Quebec society too within it, because they're French, right? Their worldview is colored by their language, their French language, and the different history that Quebec has to the English-speaking Canadians. But all those notwithstanding, you've got America and Canada. We'll say there's American society and there's Canadian society. We all speak English. We share the same continent. We've fought in many of the same wars, right?
Right.
fought in World War I together, fought in World War II, a lot of others in between and after. Our mother country both is Britain. And man, when you start saying it like that, okay, well, now you throw in Australia. That's another thing that American and Canadian societies have in common is that Canadians and Americans both know that they have a country that covers almost the whole continent from one ocean to another, with a peaceful neighbor to the north or to the south, high standard of living, right?
Right. Oh.
Well, that's Australia too, right? Their mother country's Britain.
Yeah, sounding real similar.
Yeah, so there's Australian society. Then you got Britain. Britain's a little bit different. It's an island. But that's the country that gave rise to these three others, right? And Britain had, talk about oceans.
Yeah.
Britannia over the waves, right? The same. So now we have four different societies, but it looks like there's something that underpins all of them. A number of things that underpin all of them. We might call that a civilization. You'd call it English civilization.
Yeah.
Or Anglo civilization. Or many people will say those are the Anglophone countries. Anglophone meaning the English speakers.
Okay.
And we all have similar laws, similar traditions, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom of assembly, freedom of religion, on and on it goes. Right? So that's a civilization.
Yeah.
And who knows, in 1,000 years, I've said this to people before, they think I'm crazy when I say it this way, but 1,000 years, when maybe we're long gone and they are too, people might look back on our time on the earth together, Britain and America, and say, here's come up with a new word for it. They'll call it that adjective, empire.
One big empire.
One big empire.
Boy.
They had a little bit different political things in different locales, but it was one empire. It was one big civilization.
Yeah.
Because we do that now.
Yeah.
When you look at a map of, say, the Roman Empire and during the reign of Marcus Aurelius, the last good emperor, you'll see the Mediterranean, you'll see Europe, North Africa, Britain. You'll see all the way into Mesopotamia and Asia. This colored map that shows this is Roman. Well, at the time, there might have been a lot of kingdoms around there on the edges that they didn't really think of themselves as Roman. They might have been a client state. And they had their own king. But they were a client state of the Romans. The Romans were in control. But it's easier for us today to just say, well, no, it's the Romans, because the Roman army came and went there whenever they wanted to. They had no say over it. So by the same token, you have in the United States and Britain, you have unified military command and structure and standards of equipment and the way you fight, top to bottom, that are the same between the British and American armed forces. Now you have to throw the Canadians in with that and the Australians. So it looks like it's one big military. There's different funding for different parts of it, but
certainly
it's one big military. You watch when the president, be it when it was George Bush or Barack Obama or Donald Trump or Joe Biden or Donald Trump or whoever comes after Trump, you watch when they visit Britain. Now they'll do this for other leaders too, but they salute the American president, and the American president returns their salute.